Welcome back to another episode of Room for It podcast. I'm Brittany, and I have an amazing guest today, Blondean. How you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing well. How are you?
Fantastic. I am fantastic. So, I met you through my sister because you produce plays and you coach people and you teach people for the
Yes.
acting skills and all that. So you have an organization. What is it called again?
It's called BLAAC, which is the Black Latino Asian Artists Coalition.
Okay, it's cool. That's amazing. I know there was a play at Wonder Bar, and normally I don't really do plays. I finally gave into a play last year. I went to go see Hamilton.
Oh,
it was
okay,
really good. And then I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna do something. I need to get in touch with my artistic side and support, the culture. So I went, and it was pretty good because most times I go to not go to a play. If I see a snippet of a play, it's fantasy, like fake fantasy or whatever.
Yeah.
But the people you had, they were like, it was deep. It was like all relatable information, but the way they worded it and delivered their message, it was like super deep.
Yeah, all those were actually brand new plays that have never been seen before. So I partnered with Syracuse University and also a lot of people in the community who had written plays and wanted their plays to be on stage. So I gave them that opportunity. And a lot of the actors you saw were like first time actors.
Okay.
So yeah.
I couldn't even tell. It was good. It was pretty good.
You can be in the next one.
Maybe I'll be a tree or something. I'll be a tree.
Sure.
No lines, just standing there.
Just standing there.
So tell me about yourself. Like, so where you from? What made you get into so you're a director or producer or like all the above?
A lot of things.
Many hats.
So I'm an actress, singer, writer, director, poet, and a published author, and a producer. So I do a lot of things. But I was born and raised in Syracuse, and I went to high school here, and I didn't discover the arts really until I was like my senior year of high school when I got to be in a play, and I just realized I was meant to be on the stage. So I realized throughout the years that I had a lot of more skills. So like the writing always came naturally to me. I was like winning prizes and stuff for my work and things like that. So with my production company, I'm able to kind of do all those things without having to choose. Because oftentimes like people are just like, you gotta find one thing and like stick to it and then like master it. I have found many different things and I kind of just, you know, dibble and dabble in all of those things.
Okay. Yeah. So as far as your writing, was it like a certain niche or was it um fiction or
Well, I mostly
style?
I mostly write a lot of poems. I actually have a book out right now called The Subway Diaries, which is about my time in New York City and the struggles I've faced throughout like my whole life. And that book was about 10 to 12 years in the making. So some of the poems in there are like from when I was in like high school or and then after I went on to college. So yeah.
Okay. So what made you like really like grab on to acting and singing? Like you say you weren't introduced to acting until high school. So like what happened? What shifted in your life for you to be like, you know what, I'm gonna try this acting out thing and you stuck with it. What happened?
Well, growing up, I always wanted to be a lawyer. No lie. I just felt like it was so many injustices in the world and I wanted to, right all those wrongs. And then I realized it would be a lot of school. And I didn't, I was think like when I was younger, I was like, I don't want to be in school that long and all these things. But after watching an episode of Law and Order, I realized I could play a lawyer on television and probably have a lot more fun. But I wasn't introduced to the arts, like I said, until high school. But even when I did start college, I didn't know that I could go to college for the arts. Um, I remember like sitting in my guidance counselor's office, just like talking to her, and she's like, just apply to all these schools. And I'm like, for what? She's like, oh, they're just good schools. But there was no like sitting me down and like saying, like, what are you interested in? Like, what do you believe that you're good at? So I actually went to OCC first here in Syracuse. And I sat down with my advisor there and I said, I'm really interested in acting. And she was like, you can go to school for acting. And I'm like, No, you can't. Like people are just born actors, right?
Yeah.
No, actually, you can go to school for training, and so that's when I applied for Syracuse University, and so I got my bachelor's in fine arts from there.
Okay, so there was no one, like in your background, your household, your immediate circle knew anything about going to school for acting at all?
No, my mom was there. She was a singer, and so that's where she passed me the mic, so I was singing and stuff like that. But she was always like really funny and stuff, and but she never told me, like, I don't think she even knew, you
Hmm.
know, that you can go to school for acting. Like right now, I feel like the arts are kind of like dying off in school,
It is.
so it's like,
The funds aren't there. So
yeah,
they're
it's
like, all right,
yeah,
we're
they
gonna
just
take
want,
this away. Just
yeah,
focus on math and English and science, but
yeah,
really the arts is what helps develop other parts of
yeah.
your brain and like your personality. So I think it's super important to keep the arts there.
Yeah. And there's so many different like facets of the arts community. Like people don't even know, like, your favorite movie is done by many artists, like, or even like the buildings that you see,
Hmm.
like graphic design, things like that. So it's something that's needed.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Do you think it help like like help you escape from reality at some point
Oh,
early on?
yes. Yes, definitely. I believe like I say this a lot is like, once I realized like I can write roles for myself, I started to like write roles so that like experiences that I really wouldn't have in normal life that
Hmm.
I could like have on the stage.
Who said you couldn't have it in normal life?
Well, it's kind of like, like everybody, got their family problems and stuff, and I'm not really that close to like my siblings and stuff, which sucks because I'm like a really big family person. But
Mhm.
on stage, I can have a wonderful family if I wanted to. If I wanted to write that, and I can do that and things like
To have a
that.
family, they don't have to be blood related.
I know, I know,
I have a
I
huge Syracuse family, and I have my blood family here. We're close, and I have a
know.
huge Syracuse family. They're not blood, but
Yeah,
we're family. So
yeah.
that's something to keep in mind.
That thing stay going off.
I thought it was a dog or something running through the walls.
Yes, you are correct, and I know I do have like extended family and things like that, but it definitely is an escape from your normal life.
Yeah,
So,
I know. Like when I'm down and out, and I can get a good show to watch, and it's like
mm.
8 seasons, 16 episodes
I
long,
know.
16 episodes, and like each one is like a hour long.
Yes.
I'm escaping from reality. I'm just like,
Hmm.
just especially what is it? It's like the shows from based on like old timey, Vikings.
Oh yes, yes,
Man,
yes, yes, yes,
because I know
yes.
it's not happening now. It's not
Yeah.
happening now, so I can watch it and enjoy that.
Hopefully not. Hopefully
I
not.
hope it don't happen. Um, so tell me more about your company that you have now. Tell me more about that.
Sure. So Black is officially 3 years old. I started it in February of 2020, like right before the pandemic hit.
Hmm.
And the reason I started Black is because I basically noticed that there was a separation in the arts community in Syracuse, but also like I've lived in New York City and Los Angeles, and I noticed it there too.
Hmm.
Um, I would look at auditions and say, are they going to hire Black people? And that's something I wanted to take away from like people of color. Like, it's in our names. We're going to hire Black people, we're
Yeah.
going to hire people of color. And so I wanted to create a safe space for us to come together and just be ourselves and, feel welcomed and
Hmm.
safe. So that is the mission, of Black. Um, so we've been in business for 3 years. We've done a lot of events. We've done two Black History Month events. We did Asian American Pacific Islander Festival. We've done like back to school book bag giveaways in partnership with the Boys and Girls Club. We partnered with community businesses such as like Wonder Bar and CNY Arts and CNY Uniforms, and we do a lot of stuff in the community. So
It's good that you give back to the
yes.
community instead of like just moving forward with your life and then saying screw the community. Y'all will figure it out. I got the secrets and I'm gonna keep it to myself. But you go back and I'll give back to this. That's amazing. So as far as like other cities or even other productions or industry, it's hard for like a person of color to get a role. Have
Yes.
you dealt with anything personally that they really like, struck you at your core and you knew for sure that it was like some kind of you know some iffy stuff going on?
Yes. So I had something happen to me recently last year. So I decided, once I started BLAAC, I would not do any more shows where I was the only Black
And I'm
person in
sorry,
the
what's
show.
BLAAC again? You want to tell our viewers what's BLAAC?
BLAAC is the Black Latino Asian Artists Coalition.
So BLA
AC.
AC.
Yes.
BLAAC.
Yes.
Okay, got it. All right, y'all looked it up. Make sure y'all looked it up.
But yes, I told myself I did not want to be the only Black person in a play. I feel like it's 2023. Like, you can find Black people to do plays. Like, you have to pay the money, pay us what we're worth.
Yeah, don't try to
And
don't try to lowball us.
I know, because they do that often. But I was just like, I told myself I wasn't going to be the only Black person in the play again. I felt like it needed to be a mixed cast of mixed race people, diverse, everything like that. And so I found myself once again in a position where I was the only Black person in the play. And they were basically trying to do something like they were developing a theater piece about the history of America. And you
You need
can't.
a lot of you need a lot of natives. You need a lot of
Exactly. But you literally cannot do a play about the history of America, or they wanted to call it putting America on trial, without talking about slavery and the slaughtering of the indigenous people and like all that stuff. And I was really trying to keep my cool about it because I was just like, like, the pay is kind of good.
Yeah.
But it was just like, is there a way where I can fit into this play? And then I realized that I couldn't. The guy who was directing the play was asking, he was just like, I would, like, I want to like have forgiveness as if I make a mistake and all these things. And listening to him, I realized that although his intentions were kind of good, they still weren't. It came to the point where he was talking to the other white people in the play and was just like, oh, they can play, pointed at the guy and said, oh, he can play Dr. King, or she can play Rosa Parks. And I said,
how would that work out?
I said, do you hear yourself? And that's when I knew. I was just like, yeah, I can't do this. And
Instead of casting more people.
Yes. And I was just like, it's not my job to bring the Black people into the play. That's not my job. Like, if you are really, struggling to find Black people for your play, you have to ask yourself, why don't Black people want to work with this all white theater company? So I had to like remove myself from that situation. And it was hard because I don't like being in those positions where, you know, I have to kind of like come out of my character.
Say, hey, this is not okay. Like, you already know. I shouldn't always have to say, hey, this is wrong.
Yeah.
Some stuff is just like oblivious.
Yeah.
And if you always got to be the one to point out the errors and, hey, can you correct this? It's draining. It's super exhausting.
Yeah. And it's just like, I don't want to have to do that. I'm not responsible for finding the Black people. I'm not responsible for teaching you things that you should know.
You
like,
can Google it. You can YouTube it.
Just
you can take classes.
I'm not your teacher.
Yeah.
So
what happened with that play? Once you just left?
Yeah, I just left.
Did they finish it? Did they shoot it?
Yeah, they finished it. I did not go see it.
Was it
I think they changed it up.
or
It was in Syracuse.
Okay.
Yeah. I think they may have changed it up a little bit. But I did not end up going to see it. So.
How did that affect you moving forward after that happened a year ago? How did that event affect the way you operate now in your business?
It really like made me realize that you really cannot just say like, oh, I'm not racist. You have to be anti-racist. You have to go out and, mingle with people of different cultures and things so that you can learn. Like, it's not realizing also it's not my job, because I struggle from people pleasing sometimes. So I feel like, let me teach this person, let me show them the way. But I realize I have to create a boundary, because I can't, teach you. Like, you have to go out and like learn on your own. And I don't represent all the Black people in Syracuse.
Yeah.
That's because my experience as a Black single woman is different from a Black single mother. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I can't be the representative for all the Black people in the world. So, and the way I operate my company is like, it made me like go harder to make sure the spaces that I bring people into are
Mhm.
safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is like a major thing for me because being in that space was not safe for me, so
Mhm.
I could, even if I wanted to bring someone else in, it would go against,
Your
my
core beliefs.
morals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you know
So,
that how it made you feel witnessing it. So why would you bring
yes.
somebody else on that
Hmm.
you trust that can do the job? But then now
Yeah.
it'd be you and this person feeling the same type of discomfort and
Yeah.
like that in your heart, like, oh
Yeah.
man, we still dealing with this in 2020, 2022 at the
Hmm.
time.
Yeah.
Okay. So what about your childhood? What was it like growing up? Because no, because most
That
times,
transition.
yeah, it's a big transition because most people that I know that are in the arts, like there was something going on in their childhood for them to like um, either grasp it or put it on the back burner and then get older and realize like, okay, I can do this. Some people just they're in the sports or they're like, logical, good with
Hmm.
math, whatever. And the other folks, they're like super, super what's what I'm looking for? Talented in the arts, good singers,
Yeah.
drawing, architect, acting. Like they have all these skills, but it's put on the back burner. Or they
Yeah.
grasp onto it and they know at a young age this is what I'm going to do, and they continue it on um, in their adult life. So, like, what was it like for you coming up? For you to say you like to write, but then
Yes.
it wasn't until high school when you was like, oh, maybe I can be an actor, maybe. So, like,
Yeah. I well growing up was, kind of difficult. I lost my mom at a really young age at 13. So I had to learn how to like take care of myself, and I still, ended up graduating from high school and going on to college, but for most of my childhood, like after my mom passed away, I was homeless. So I was constantly like growing up in group homes and like sleeping at friends' house and things like that. That's why I feel like I didn't really discover the arts until high
because
school.
you were trying to survive.
Yeah, so it's like being in that survivor's mode.
Hmm.
And I feel like that has still like affected me today. Like sometimes I have to remind myself that I don't have to be in survivor's mode, which is
You must
like,
start going to therapy.
yes,
That's
I
why
got two
therapy, because other
therapists.
people will be in survival mode. They don't even know it to acknowledge it,
Yeah,
and then they still operating. But after you start, once you're aware of what it looks like, and then you see yourself going back into it, you're like, oh wait, I'm not 13-year-old Blondean no more.
yes,
I can operate differently now.
yeah. And I think sometimes I still struggle with that a little bit.
Hmm.
Um, but for the most part, I feel like I have healed enough to the point to recognize it and allow myself to just be,
Yeah.
you know. Um, but yeah, like growing up, was indeed very difficult.
Hmm.
But
So, what part of Syracuse are you? Like, what area?
well, I grew up on the south side of Syracuse,
Okay.
but now I live in Salve. But
Hmm.
I lived all over Syracuse. So
Speaking of the South Side, I mean, it's another thing. Like you said, no one around you knew that you can go to school to be an actress or an actor,
yes, hmm,
because for the most part, everybody trying to survive. They're just trying to get by. And for
hmm,
me, I know when I moved to Syracuse, it was not a culture shock, but it was in a sense because I'm from
hmm,
Memphis, Tennessee. So inner city, I grew up, super poor, and that's all I
hmm,
saw. That's all I knew about.
yeah.
And then went up to Nashville for college, and I saw some different. Oh, this is nice. I can. I don't have to live this way no more, right? And
Yeah.
then went off to San Diego. Still cool, nice. And I
Hmm.
come back to Syracuse, and it like reminded me a lot of Memphis.
Yeah.
But at that
Yeah.
time, I wasn't going to therapy. So I get here,
Hmm.
and I'm like, oh, what's going on here? And it
Yeah.
was super triggering, because to see, people who look like me, stuck in a survival mode and not knowing that there's a better way.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, why am I so annoyed? And I'm just triggered and seeing
Yeah.
people on the corner, like it just took me back to, a little bitty breeding,
Hmm.
surviving. But for sure, like living in the South Side, you want to know nothing about
Yeah.
acting.
At all. Like I
It's
didn't
about
know.
buying. If we got food on the table, or is
Hmm.
the utility zone, stuff like
Yeah.
that. You don't have space in your brain emotionally to even go into your imagination to
Yeah.
create anything
Hmm.
because it's stress.
It really, really is. And I think a lot of people that I know, and even some people in my family, like, I live different places, so I understand exactly what you're talking about.
Hmm.
Like, to go from Syracuse to like live in New York City, that was a culture shock for me.
Yeah.
I'm just like, why are people moving so damn fast? Everybody is trying to get somewhere.
Needs to chest, needs to chest.
And like they will push an old lady out the way in her wheelchair if they gonna miss the train.
Hustle mode. Gotta hustle. Gotta hustle.
But like I noticed like the mindset of a lot of people is just like, I, like this is my life and it's never gonna change. This is my and I try to limit my interaction with those people because I know at the same time it's like
It's
I can help.
contagious.
It's contagious, but I know I can help people. But it's not like I can only help to an extent. Like I can give you the knowledge that I have, and then like you can do what you want with it. But I feel like a lot of people have like the Syracuse mindset, which is just like getting up every day, going to hustle, whatever you're doing, do you? You know what I'm saying? And like I ain't living nowhere else but the South Side. I'm not going.
It's not wrong with the South Side. I feel like I'm pretty sure back in the day it was probably a prominent neighborhood, for people of color.
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
doing well. But just like every other city, if back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, it was a prominent area for people of color. Today in 2023, I'm sure it's like kind of run down, just like in Memphis.
Yes.
Orange Mound was prominent neighborhood like in the 60s, maybe the 70s, but
Yeah.
Orange Mound today, pretty much last time I was there, it's run down. So 13, your mom passed away, and you was like, group homes and stuff like that. Did you have like you say you have siblings? Are they older? Are they
Yes.
younger? Like, did your family step in at all to?
They tried. I want to say that they tried. My oldest sister took us for a little while, but she was only 21 when my mom passed away.
That's a lot for her. She's still a kid.
Yeah, she's still a kid, and she had 2 kids of her own at the time. So to take up, my mom had 6 kids altogether, and I'm like in the middle.
Me too. I'm number 3.
I'm number 3 too.
She's number 1 behind the camera. Our producer over here.
But like, I just I just felt like we all were going through something and like not understanding because even looking back, like how could a 13-year-old like truly understand that her mom's like never coming back? So the 21-year-old, like my older sister who got to be with my mom even longer, I can only imagine like how it was for her and trying to take us all on and care for us, and she was unable to do that. So it was indeed like a lot, and then we got separated after that for many many years. um but now like I try to have good relationships with them. But I feel like we all have like a pain and a hurt, and I used to pray. I was just like, God, I really want my siblings and I to come back together and things like that. But I realized until they do the work on their own, it wouldn't matter if we came together. If we did come together before they did the work, it's gonna be a Royal Rumble. It's gonna be WWE. So it's just like I now pray that they find their healing, so that when we come together, that we can begin to heal together.
And it's definitely a lot of work, like a lot of work, a lot of ups and downs.
It is
emotional roller coaster. You got to be ready for it. Not say you got to be ready for it, but just be prepared for like whatever comes along with it. But it's super freeing once you get to the other side of the healing. Like I tell everyone that I talked about it, I'm like, Erykah Badu's song "Bag Lady" hits so much differently now.
It does.
As a kid, it's like you sing "Bag Lady," you gonna hurt your back.
Okay, vocals.
No, but now it's like, man, like when I started working on healing, all that crap, those bags, like I don't have to carry no more, so I can go through life, freely and easier, and I'm not as exhausted mentally and emotionally, like trauma that probably happened years ago or something. I'm not gonna say trauma like. So before, when I heard the word trauma, or I was thinking like physical, you getting beat. But trauma is anything that puts your body back like in a high chemical state, like a chemical reaction is happening, and some fear, some fight or flight. But you don't really work through it, so it's always there. So your body's still pushing through those stress hormones that you never really dealt with. And then I thought that triggers look like, how can I explain it? I thought a trigger would be, oh, I'm saying this because I'm triggered. No, a trigger is how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Like how am I responding or reacting to a situation?
Mhm.
It's triggering
Yeah.
because it's putting me back in something that happened. Whenever
Yeah.
it happened. But my
Yeah.
body don't know the difference that if it's
Mhm.
happening now or happening 10 years ago or five
Yeah.
years ago. My body doesn't know the difference.
Mhm.
But once I start working the healing process, work through that crap, let it
Mhm.
go, let it dissolve. Now, when something happens that's similar to that trigger, it's not. I'm not having this high chemical reaction, shooting cortisol
Yeah.
hormones to my body.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a whole other topic.
It is okay because I definitely understand because oftentimes I am triggered and I really don't know why. Sometimes I'll be like, wait, why is this triggering me? Like, what's going on? Like,
Hmm.
and I feel like also our body sometimes doesn't know that we survived something.
Hmm.
So it's like instead of our body realizing that, it holds on to it. So it's like you carry all this trauma and so many things like in your body and you don't
Yes.
even know.
Yeah.
Like you just walking around like you be like, dang, like why my ankle hurting? First of
Or
all,
walking
let's
chemical reactions.
yeah, my knees would bother me so much, and I'm like, what am I holding on to?
Hmm.
Because it's something is going on. But like you gotta take the time to go on the healing journey,
Hmm.
and it's not linear.
It's
Some
not.
days you're gonna feel okay, and some days I'll be crying in my car.
Yeah, and I think the healing part of it is like, yeah, things come up, but how long am I gonna hold on to it?
Hmm.
Like, am I gonna let this hold? Am I gonna let this situation or this emotion hold on to me for a week, for a month, for a
Yeah,
year, or am I gonna work through it and like let it go?
yeah.
So yeah, it's a whole other topic that I can dive into, and I will not shut up about it, but I'll shut up about it today. Um, so well, I lost my train of thought just now.
It's okay.
Because we have a lot to unpack about, you know, we
now,
do.
now we got unpacked. You going into your life coaching mode.
No, no, no. I want to know about because most kids who are in that environment or in that situation,
Hmm.
they don't make it to the other side, or they can't see
Yeah.
the light at the end of the tunnel. It's just they
Hmm.
become a product of the environment. So
Yeah.
how was that for you? Like, how did you navigate through to still, like be driven and graduate high school and find a passion for something?
Hmm.
Because even with college, you're like, oh, I want to be a lawyer. Oh, that's too much school, but you still went to school to be an actor. So you
Yes,
were
I still did
inspired,
the same
yeah.
amount of
The same
school.
amount of school, but you was inspired to do it. So I like to say all the time, people say, "Oh, I'm lazy," or they think I'm like, "You're not lazy. You're just not inspired. You're not
Mm,
inspired to put in the work to get what you want to get."
yeah.
So for you, that was a lot. I mean, you gave me the short version of what
Yes, it
happened,
definitely was a short
and you
version.
still went on to finish school, go to college, become a singer, actor, or actress, director, producer, like
Yeah.
your own business, wearing many hats. So
Mhm.
like how did you do all this? What's a moment in your childhood or your teenage life that made you continue to push forward?
So I say it was two moments. It was the moment I realized I was meant to be an actress. And the next moment I realized that I'm truly blessed, like even after everything I've been through. So, like I said, I wasn't introduced to the arts until high school. And the my drama teacher was just like, we're gonna be doing fences. So I don't know if you know fences, but
The
by
movie
August Wilson, yeah.
with Denzel Washington?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I saw
yeah.
that.
So it's originally a play that they turned into a movie, but they were doing fences and she's like, I really want you to audition for this role. Like I really think you could do it. So, I got the script and I'm reading it and basically after 18 years her husband cheated on her, is about to have a baby with somebody
Oh yeah,
else.
I remember that.
So I go into the room, like I get the monologue and I'm reading it and I'm just like, thinking like in my teenage mind, like, oh, I could play this role. Like I haven't been alive 18 years yet, but I know
I
what
think I
pain
know what it
feels
feels
like.
like.
I was like, I know what pain feels like. I know what it feels like to feel like I've been betrayed by someone. And I remember being in the room with all these other girls. There was so many girls in there. And I was just like, I wasn't even like worried about it. I was like, I could do this. I could do it. I go into the audition room, I get on the stage, and I start the monologue. And my acting teacher, she's like, more, more, I need more, I need more. And like I'm trying to like give her more, and then she just stops me and she goes, "Thank you." And literally in that moment, although I knew I didn't get the part, I stood on that stage and I just felt like this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Even though she already let me know in one way or another that I didn't get this role,
Mm-hmm.
I knew that I was going to play the role in the future. And it was just this feeling that I knew it and you couldn't tell me anything else. Fast forward to 2008. Like, so after that was high school, senior year, and I went to OCC, and then they're like, oh, you can go to college for acting. So, you know, by this time it was April and college applications closed in February. So it's like, you apply like in the fall, so you come in the next round or whatever. And she was just like, oh, you got to call and see. She's like, you got to apply to the school first. So remind you, it's like April. Classes start in like June. So it's like I was not accepted to the school. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what a
This is at
monologue
LCC?
was. No, this was Syracuse
Oh,
University.
oh yeah, they did that live.
Yeah, it was not playing.
Yeah.
And I started calling and I was speaking to this lady and she's like, we don't know what's going to happen, but you have to apply to the school first. So I applied to the school and I got in the school. And she was just like, we can see if we can audition you, but it won't be until the following year you get in. Mm-hmm. So I would have to spend a whole nother year like taking electives and then come into the program. So I'll never forget, it was like May 12th, which was like a Friday. And I go in and audition for this lady and she's just like, okay, can you sing your monologue for me? And then I got so excited. I was like, yeah. So I wrote my own monologues because I had no idea what to do. Mm-hmm. So I wrote my own monologues and she's like, this is the first time in the history of my 30 years being here that someone wrote their monologues. Mm-hmm. I'm like, okay. So I do it for her and she like stops me in the middle of it and she's like, thank you so much. And then I immediately was just like, oh, I sucked. I really thought I sucked.
So you went back to high school?
Yeah. I was just like, oh my God, I sucked. I got triggered. And she's like, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to tell them to let you in, for the following year because you did such an amazing job. Mm-hmm. And so I was so excited. And this was on a Friday. And I go home and I tell everyone, I'm like, I'm going to get in for next year. And I'm already at the school. Like everything was great. And then the next morning was Saturday and it was like 7:30 in the morning and someone was ringing my phone. And I was just like, I kept ignoring it because I was like, who is calling me at 7:30 on a Saturday?
Yeah, you're a young adult at that time.
I know, I used to be asleep. I don't sleep too much no more. So I answered the phone. I'm like, hello? She's like, is this Blondean? And I'm like, yes. She's like, oh my God, this is such and such from Syracuse University Drama Department. And I just want to let you know that we found a spot for you for this semester. So like you get to come this semester. And I was like, hold on.
It sounds like you feel that same excitement over again now as if it's happened on May 12th.
Right? I literally was just like, I was so excited. And I knew in that moment, like just everything that I've been through up to that moment had brought me to that moment. Like everything, no matter what it was. Like I was just like, I can't believe that I'm about to go to Syracuse University.
That's big.
And like for a little girl from the south side of Syracuse.
Like, even people who live in Syracuse
don't go to Syracuse. Yeah.
So that's big.
I know. It was like an amazing moment in my life. And that's how I knew I was blessed. Mm-hmm. And all I had to do was just be like, okay, we gonna figure it out.
I like to call it the golden thread. These little things, like these little breadcrumbs that leads you to like where you're gonna go in life. Yeah. Even now. That's a good story. I can't. I'm about to ask more about this offline. So, for one, I'm gonna go back. You say something? Oh. All right, we're back from a little mini break. So, lost my train of thought. Well, yeah. So, it seems like even as a teenager, as a kid and a teenager, you're like super driven. Like I know when I was in high school, my self-confidence was super low. Like I was timid. I'm like, oh, everything that will put a spotlight on me or what, I didn't want to do it. I played sports and eventually helped my confidence, like, going out on the court, but it was like two different personas. But for you to just go, I can do this. I can get on the stage and act this out and try to get this part. That's super bold. A lot of kids don't have that.
Well, I knew that I would play the role eventually, and then I played the role in college. Like surprisingly to me, like I didn't. So the teachers chose a scene for us, and in that moment, I was just like, "Oh, it's coming back around."
I would say it's like manifested.
Yes, and I played the hell out of that role. I was a really good role, but I wasn't ready to play it in high school. Yeah. But I was ready to play it in college.
Sound like Oprah Winfrey. You know her story, how she read Color Purple, the book, and she was bought several copies and gave it to everybody. And then it's like, oh, this is a good book, man. If they make a play, I'm gonna play this character. Years passed, and what happened? You know, I think it was Quincy Jones saw her on the news as an anchor. It was like, I want to see who this lady is, and then she ended up getting a part. And I don't know. I don't say it's luck. I say this what is it? An opportunity that you prepare for. Yeah. Because you have to prepare for the things you want in life. If I just say, oh, you know, I want a dog. But I'm not looking at what kind of dog I want, what breed, or when I'm going to get it. In the summertime, in the wintertime, I'm not preparing. I want a dog. I'm not going to get a dog. Maybe I want to pop up on my porch, but it's not intentional. But if I say I want something, I have to prepare myself to receive the opportunity. Yeah. Because when the opportunity come about, how can I grab it if I'm not ready for it? Yes. How can I even acknowledge the opportunity if I'm not like focused on what I want? Yeah. So for you to say, I didn't get this part, but I know I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna play this role, and then boom, full circle, you go to college, you play the role. Yeah. Like there's something. It seems like you have this, from hearing you talking this short period of time, you have persistence ingrained in you. Like you keep going. Like a door closes or something gets hard, well, you go to the next door, and then the next door, then maybe the third, fourth door it opens, and it takes you to the next level. So that's a good quality to have, especially as like a person and a business owner, as a human being. It's a good quality to have, because a lot of people, even for me, you know, years ago, and people now, when stuff gets hard, shit gets hard, I'm gonna curse. When shit gets hard, and there's a door or a blockage, it's like, oh well, I guess I won't do it. Like, no, jump over the damn blockade, break it down, or like go down the wall to see if the next door open, you know. Yeah. And then the next door open, you go through, and if another door comes up, is it open? It ain't open. You walk the wall, whatever. Yeah, try to figure it out. Open. Yeah, so that's a good quality that people should definitely like instill, because life gets hard.
It really does.
You can't just be like, oh, life's hard, guess I'll just kick back and allow life to just happen to me. Like, no, no, that's not how it works. But I'm sorry. It's okay. So you played the scene in college, and then you got the call. Well, before the scene in college, you went, did the audition, got the call, and you were like super excited. Oh, I got this part. I got accepted into the school. Yeah. So what happened from there?
We started early because classes started end of August. So we started like in July or something like that. Okay. So I ended up spending another 4 years at Syracuse University. And after I graduated and got my bachelor's, I moved directly to New York City.
The Big Apple.
I know. It was scary and like amazing, and I think that's where my anxiety got really bad, because it was just so many people and things happening. And I was just like, why is there's more? I literally was just like, there's more people in the world. Like, you don't really realize until like you leave your hometown that there's billions of other people in the world. But yeah, like I lived in New York City, and it was just so different and strange and all types of things. But I lived there for about 3 years. And then I moved back here, and then I moved to LA, and I stayed there like a few months. And then I moved back to Syracuse in 2017. Okay. And so I've been back since 2017.
Giving back to the community. Yeah. Showing folks the light. Like, hey, there's another way. Oh, you can be an actor, actress. You know, yeah. Whatever sector of the arts you're in, you can do this thing. Like, giving people the confidence, because they probably thinking, oh, it's only for folks living in the city, the big city, not Syracuse City, but New York City or LA, or only for like people who don't look like me. Yes, regardless how they look, it's not for me. But then you come in with this organization, this company who's giving everyone a shot, regardless of their background, where they look, all that. Like, you giving everybody a shot equally. if they can play the role.
Yeah. but even then, I don't. Like I say, I cast people who've never acted before. So it's like giving them those opportunities to just experience something different. And so far, everyone who hasn't acted before, who acted in one of my productions, they liked it. So that's good.
Yeah. And so what does that do for you? Like, how does it make you, does that bring you, like, you some kind of joy, like fulfillment by giving people the opportunity to work on that, work on their dreams or whatever?
I feel like it does give me joy because like I love to help people, you know, and sometimes to a fault. Like I said, recovering people pleaser here. So it's like, you know, like I enjoy, you know, giving people like what I didn't have as a child. Like
the inner child, huh?
Yes. So it's like I'm just the person that I needed when I was a child that I didn't have. So it's like if someone was to introduce me to the arts earlier, well, my mom did that with singing. That's why, you know, I felt so comfortable to like sing and things like that because we would travel to different churches and sing, and you know, I played some instruments too. So that was kind of a little bit my outlet. But I feel like if someone had introduced me to acting earlier, and you know, even just like when I teach classes now, even adult classes, I have them do silly things like run around the classroom, hop like a frog, like do all these things because that also helps to heal your inner child, you know, in a safe space. So yeah, I just try to, you know, give them a piece of what I have, you know, found through the arts, which is kind of like a piece. You know,
I felt that. It's deep. I don't know if the viewers will think that, but I know for sure. You say you have them like doing little silly things as an adult, that they couldn't do as a child. It could have been because the environment wasn't safe, too stressed out, no space to do it, no one to take them to do it or watch them. You know, most kids are like, watch me do this, and no one's watching.
No one's watching,
and then they're like, oh, I'm not important, or whatever. So all the silly things that they were doing, they just stopped doing because why? What's the point?
Yeah.
So that's I felt that. And then the other thing I was going to go back to was I think I already talked about the persistence being ingrained in you. Oh, like the golden thread. Like you had a passion for something, and you saw it through, regardless of those obstacles, the pain. Oh, pain into passion.
Yes,
because it seems like you had pain, but did you ever did you feel it? Did you like physically feel it and like act it out, the pain you were in at the time when you were in high school, 13, 14, 15?
No, not really. I didn't really discover my voice, I want to say, until like college. I didn't really come into who I really was, like really begin to like see myself and like just see myself as like a beautiful person. And even though despite of everything I went through, I didn't really see myself until like college when I was around different people and like a different environment and stuff different like mentality. That. Yeah. And, you know, even I don't think I really developed my voice until like mid-20s. Like close, well, 26. Probably late 20s.
Ages like 25 and 27.
Something happens. And then like being in the over 30 club, like something happens when you turn 32.
Oh, I ain't ready for it. I ain't ready for it.
So how old are you?
I'll be 31 in June.
Oh, okay. So your knees and stuff don't hurt yet?
Knees hurt a little bit.
But like I want to say like something happens, but I really just think it's just like the knowledge and wisdom that I've gotten over this time that I've been on earth.
Okay.
Because even in the heartbreak, there was wisdom that came along with that. Even through the pain, there was the knowledge of, you know, like looking back on it, it's just like, wow, I really went through all this stuff and I'm still here. So it's like, there's a reason that I am still here.
I heard some of the best songwriters make their best work in a heartbreak.
Oh, yes. Pain.
And even like artists, I mean not artists, but writers, their best work when they're in the midst of hell.
Yeah.
The best work. So like someone I know recently had like I think a heartbreak but emotional thing, and I text him like, hey, I heard the best. She wants to be not you trying to help. She wants to be a director and stuff like that, but she's writing the script and she's having like was it writer's block?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I heard the best artists or the best writers make their best work when they're, have a heartbreak or emotional. Yeah. She's like, oh, thanks.
I know Adele, Beyonce, like those are beautiful. I still got some songs that I've written. Mm-hmm. they got come out this summer, but like
okay. Even Denzel Washington, when I heard him talk about his journey, he talks about back in when he went to college, flunked out, and wanted to be an actor. So he went to audition for a spot, and they basically said he sucked. He's not meant to be an actor. And now look, years later, he's like one of the prominent, greatest actors of all time in America. Yeah. So man, just a lot.
Yeah,
because pain is a passion.
I don't think there's any other choice. Like I feel like a lot of times that's why artists are artists. So they have like an outlet and they can express themselves in ways they can't really do in normal life.
So. That's true. That is true. So what are you working on now? Like where can we find you? What are you working on now? You say you have
where do you want me to start?
First, where can we find you? Where can we find your book? And your company BLAAC. Where can we find that? If you want to follow it, donations or even like audition for something, and then your upcoming work, so we can like be on the lookout for that.
Sure. So let's start with the Color Purple musical. So we're in pre-production for the Color Purple musical right now, but that opens June 23rd, and you'll be able to get tickets on blaacproductions.com, BLAAC productions.com. Also, you can follow us on Facebook, which is BLAAC, Black Latino Asian Artists Coalition. We're also on Instagram at b.l.a.a.c. You can follow me if you want to. Just Blondean Young, BLONDEANYOUNG on Facebook, and on Instagram it's Queen Blondean. So
Queen Blondean. Okay.
Yes, if you want to audition anything, if you are interested in working with the company, we're always accepting new people. So you can just email us at blaacsyracuse@gmail.com, BLAAC Syracuse@gmail.com. And I'll probably be the one to get back to you.
Because you wear many hats, right?
I do.
All right, so that's about it, folks. Thank you for tuning in. Anything you want to close them out with? A special, like a punch, so
much pressure.
Or a golden nugget of wisdom or something that sticks with you that always helps you navigate through life, no matter what.
You are the most important person in your life. So take good care of yourself.
Yes, I like that. That is true. Yes. Very true. All right, so now for real this time, y'all. I'm going to be wrapping it up. And thanks for tuning in. My name is Brittany, and this is Room for It Podcast. Also, stand by because I'll be dropping the link to be coached by me personally with your own specialized coaching program. And stay tuned for the next episodes. And we out.